Alright, so the first fix I'm going to do on this truck is actually to the shifter. So the bushings in the shifter seem to be really bad. This is actually in gear right now, it's in first gear. And I can move it that much in gear. Let me put it in neutral. That's what it looks like in neutral currently. Let me go down to fourth gear. So there's just a ton of play, and I hate how it feels. It makes driving it not fun at all. So I bought this, which has all the shifter bushings and everything in it, I hope, to fix this. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, for the first part of this fix, all you're going to need is a screwdriver. As you can see in the shifter here at the bottom, there are 2 screws in the front, and there are 2 in the back there. Understand this is not stock, they didn't come with the cup holders. I'm pretty sure you'll still have to unscrew the boot from there. I think this piece is from an Explorer, is what the previous owner told me. And there's only 3 screws in mine, so that's something else we'll have to look out for. I have to grab another 4th screw to get that down. But after you have it down, set my light down, this whole thing just kind of lifts up. So once you have those screws out and you can lift the boot and the cover over it, you have to take the shift knob off and make sure you put this in neutral. It'll make your job much easier down the road when you're replacing these bushings if it's in neutral. Next, you would normally have to come down here and loosen this bolt and then put it on this side and tighten it to pull this off. But for some reason mine lifted straight off when I lifted the boot off. So I don't know if it's been worked on before and whoever put it back together didn't do it correctly, but that's a little concerning. So I'm just going to keep going and I will put it back on correctly. Alright, next you're going to come across this little boot here that separates the transmission tunnel from the cab of the truck. The screws we took off earlier for this are the same ones that hold that on, so you can just peel it back. It'll be tucked under your liner here just a little bit. Be careful because this is really old if you're working on like an 80s or 90s model truck, and it will chip a little bit, but super easy to get off. And now we're going to move on to unbolting these screws, which gets us access to the bushings. Alright, here we go. I have not looked inside here yet, but I did just take the screws off, so we're going to lift it up and see how bad the bushings are inside of there. So, that little notch part faces forward. Saying that so I remember later. Looks like the top one lifted out with me. Doesn't look to be in too bad a shape. And neither does the bottom one. That's weird. Alright, let's go and replace these. Alright, so here's the bushings and washers taken out of the transmission now. The bushings aren't in bad shape, but there was only one of these washers that's really wavy. And from diagrams I've seen online, I'm supposed to have 2 of these and 2 flat washers, so maybe the lack of washers is what was causing it, because these bushings don't look to be in bad shape at all. These look relatively new. So thankfully the kit that I bought does have washers, so we're going to do that. Another concerning thing that I saw was these pins. I didn't have to knock these out at all, they're just that loose. So I may need to press them in correctly, and that may be what's causing the issue as well. I definitely recommend using gloves if you're doing this job, unless you don't mind having gear oil all over your hands. But yeah, so I'm going to keep going here and I'll keep you guys posted. So I reassembled everything and the new bushings are installed now. I went ahead and replaced the side pins that we saw earlier that were so loose and added in the washers that were missing. From the bottom up, the order is wavy washer, flat washer, bushing, and then you'll have to reinstall the actual metal piece, other bushing, wavy washer, flat washer. And I think the main problem, what was going on, is those loose pins from the sides were causing the bushings and washers to move around in there around this little metal piece that sticks out, causing the play that we saw previously. So now I just got to get this nut off of the shifter itself. It is a 17 millimeter, and I will loosen this up, put it on the other side, tighten it a little bit to get the center piece out. We should be all set to go. So now everything is reassembled on the shifter. I'm going to show you guys the difference. It definitely helped out a lot. It feels great now. So I'm going to put it up in first gear like we did when we were first testing. That is all I can move first gear now. Then neutral. It doesn't seem to want to self-center, which is one thing I'm a little concerned about. But neutral definitely is more clunky. I can tell, you know, I'm in the middle. I'm all the way over. We'll go down to fourth gear. That is fourth gear. So huge improvement. Definitely happy with this. And yeah, if you have a Ranger that's shifting poorly, I would definitely recommend using those bushings because that wasn't too bad and it seemed to fix everything.